Since retiring from the public's eye, I had resigned myself to a life of solitude. For 2 years, I started my day watching Kung Fu theater. Days, then weeks blurred into one long, greasy telethon. The next thing I know, some government goons show up in my place. It seems they've caught a whiff of old Mr. Sunshine himself, Rez. He's back in the media dimension, and they think I'm crazy enough to go back in after him. So they whisked me away to Interrogation 101. They play rough. Start giving me the business. I give a little back.
You know, the 90s.
They throw in one of those secret agent suits, and I tell them we got a deal. Looks like I'm headed back into the media dimension. It's gonna be deja ouch all over again.
I don't know why I let that play instead of just talking over it, but why not? This is Gex Enter the Gecko, which is the second game in the Gex series. For those of you who are wondering why I didn't play the first one at any point yet, it's because I don't like it. It's as simple as that. Okay, so holding the X button speeds up this animation, I guess? So I'm making sure that it's actually... it deserved to be heard, to be honest. You know what? Fair enough. We'll say... why not? Also, it helps us kind of get into a little bit of what are we in for? Oh yes, this game is incredibly goofy. Welcome to the 90s and welcome aboard, viewers. How jank is this game? That's a good question, Mega Man. I haven't played this game in... Actually, I gotta put an asterisk on this because I've never played this version of the game at all. I've played the N64 version, but that last time I did that, I was a lot younger than I am now. I'm going to put in that it was without a doubt over 15 years ago last time I played the N64 version on emulator. I haven't owned a cartridge of the N64 version for 20 years, so... take that with a grain of, I actually do not know how janky it is, but it is a 3D platformer from the 90s, so we can probably expect a little bit of bumpy roads here and there. Anyway, the attract mode here is showing off a gimmicky boss fight. Hooray! I remember this one being a real pain in the ass last time I played it, so that'll be something to look forward to. Is it Conker's goofy? Probably not. But, again, I suppose we shall have a better look when we get there. So, once again, Gex is a television-watching gecko who is... Well, this time he's been willingly sucked into the television, but as before, it was unwilling in the previous game, which, again... Why would we... Okay, I gotta get acclimated to the camera controls. It's not right stick because... This is 1998 we're talking about. L2 is to crouch, which of course is necessary for doing some of our things here. Triangle is zooming in and out. I'm playing this using DuckStation, which... Oh. No, I don't want to quit yet. I didn't realize I could just like tab it left and right without having to scroll all the way down. Whoopsie. So... Yeah, you've got kind of your basic array of platformer moves. They can... Oh yeah, that's right. The circle button is used for your tongue, so you can eat flies because you are a lizard who eats flies. And that's how you're going to regain health, gain power-ups, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, DuckStation usually is fairly accurate, so I'm not expecting it to be inaccurate is the point here. So, oh yeah, if we... had checked the hint thing, it would have told us that. So over here, we've got a thing we can't go into, which is fine. As you can see, it's got a floating sign up there that shows 3 red remotes. That's what we need to be able to access it, but if you're unsure of that, you can check the hint box and it'll tell you, hey, oh, by the way, there are red remotes and stuff. So, What else do you have to tell me that is useful information or not useful information, really? Game? Are you just gonna tell me how to enter a level if I do this? Change camera angles. Oh yeah, that's... and how to control your camera and stuff. What about over here? Ah yes, that's telling us about... It doesn't tell us what that does, but it tells us about it, so they're only giving you half the manual. Okay, so... yeah, that's our first-person perspective. We can do that with a stick, at least, right? Yeah. I guess that's potentially a little easier than having an extra button for that or something. So, is there anything up here? So... ooh, okay, this is where our bonus levels spawn. In the N64 version, which is the one that I remember a little better, there's an extra level up here, which is an underwater level where you swim around and you find the half-wrecked Titanic, apparently, called Gecko. It's spelled, you know, like a pun on Jacques Cousteau. You guys know who Jacques Cousteau is. We're all, like, within the age range, I think, that we would probably understand most of these puns, so I'm going to try avoiding explaining them as we go into our first level here. A Scream TV, yes, horror-themed level called Smell Razor. You know, for the kids, right? This is a game that, well, to be fair, I guess like this sort of more child-appropriate version of horror themes is not really that weird for being for a platformer setting, pardon me. Yeah, I will admit I have not seen the Hellraiser movies, but I do have a...
So this is Never Never Land. You'd never guess it from the outside.
I do have a rather low-budget replica of the puzzle box sitting on my desk. Because while I haven't seen them, I've always had, like, this sort of admiration for them as, like, you know, thematically and the styles of Pinhead and the other Cenobites. I need to watch them at some point, but goodness knows I am the worst about watching movies. So, yeah, this is a game that is full of lots of references from our friendly neighborhood Lizard here, who is voiced, of course, by the comedian Dana Gould, and this time I got the name right. I keep confusing his name with Dana Carvey's for some reason. And let me tell you, I feel like this game would actually be a little bit higher rated if it was Dana Carvey. Can you just imagine they put that Bill Clinton sketch in here? For anybody who doesn't know what that is, I will not elaborate because it makes me a little bit I would not be surprised if, like, the translator... Well, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I was gonna say if the translator didn't get what Nidhogg was, but we're also talking about the game is quite dense in very, like, Scottish Celtic mythology, and they seemed to get a lot of those references down not horribly. So, credit where it's due. Now, this is a 3D platformer, so as you might expect, there is plenty of crap for us to collect. And in each level, there are these silver remotes that you can find. One of them is hidden in each level, and the other one is collected by grabbing our fun little collectibles here. Like, we've got these goofy skulls right now that, well, are extremely 2D. But in a moment, you will see that change. Okay, no, it's... Hold on. So there is like an extra move that we can do here, so... There we go. Okay, yeah, run, hold the crouch button and press your jump button and you'll do this sort of long jump flying kick sort of move. You know, Gex obviously watches like incredible amounts of kung fu flicks in particular, so obviously he's got that going on because, you know, goodness knows everybody loves that stuff, right?
This house is now clean.
What if the button doesn't want... Well, then you kind of get a little bit stuck there and things don't work super well. So we pick up 30 of the first collectible in each level and it changes shape, which also changes where the fixed ones are set in the level. After that, you collect 40 and the collectible changes yet again, followed by a new reset to 50, and once you collect 50 of them, you get a silver remote, and every 50 afterwards, you get an extra life, I would assume. I don't remember. So, the red television gave us that fun-looking little fly that once we ate it, sets us on fire, which lets us do this. Which, you hold down the attack button and you run in a circle, and you close the circle and you make this death zone. And that usually kills most enemies pretty good. And if nothing else, I think this blocks a hit, at least. So they give you a little something for that. You can only have one fly circling around your head at a time. If you break open another TV, you'll just eat whatever is following you. Probably limitations of not knowing how much they could actually get away with in terms of making the thing work. Last JP build we saw was during Nintendo Power Preview. Yeah, I haven't seen the Quest 64 manual in eons, so I can't really speak on that. Also, yeah, we failed to get any of the pickups out of that thing because I am a clumsy oaf. And of course, something hidden behind the bookcase, because no kidding. Which activates a thing that we only kind of get a preview of. It's an elevator. Oh ho ho, look, it's a reference. Step into the light. Wow. Wow. I get it. It is a location where you are safe. It will not kill you, believe it or not. So yeah, you see a camera change like that, and if you found that in your first run of the level, your first instinct would be to go, what? Also, speaking of what, here's a painting of George Washington with an arrow through his head and blood coming out of his mouth. Dang. Pity it wasn't Jefferson, really, but I digress. And if this operates in the same way as the N64 version does, if you break open a checkpoint TV while you have a fly circling you, then you will auto-eat the fly as well. But do not take me for being an expert. Remember, I haven't played this game in a while, and goodness knows if the last time I did, if I internalized anything. Listen, I barely internalize things now, like... actually, what I was about to say is a bad example, because I was going to say, I don't remember anything from Riven, you guys, but I remember quite a lot of Riven, actually, because it's a very good game. Anyhow.
Now that's what I call getting some tail.
So, yes, we go from stock tombstones to Jason masks. You know, once again, a great reference for children. Makes total sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, tail time.
Green fly gives you a health point back, but obviously we didn't need that. And the purple one, just eat that right away, because that's a 1-up. The fly operates as like a shield. If you get hit while you have one circling you, you will lose whatever benefit you had from it, but you will not take damage. I think you go into iframe still, but again, it's been so long that remembering those details is like really not easy. So, we'll probably find that out as we play the game, because I think we've all seen how I play 3D platformers, and the answer is questionably. And I mean, the controls on this, I've played worse in this era, but you are a little bit heavy in terms of your turning in particular. Like, I think that's the very biggest thing that kills a lot of them for me, is that your turning radius is just like always far too large. And it would take them until sometime in the 2000s to hash that out. And yeah, here we go. We got some more armors doing the usual thing that suits armor do in any vaguely creepy medium.
One for me and one for me.
That pumpkin's bounce always is worrying me already, because it's like, oh, that seems like it's really easy for you to just barely miss and then get splattered by it. And I mean, to be fair, if you're a Gecko and you get clobbered with a pumpkin, that's gonna hurt, so. Oh, whatever you're screaming about. Ease off, come on. I understand the flavor and everything, but good lord. Well, there's our silver remote. Our first of 2 in the level, because we haven't found the hidden one yet, obviously. We haven't even gotten to the place where it is. Ah, yes, we got a killer doll, just like always. Once again, you know, Chucky references. That's very much a thing for the kids. Streamer, the franchise is actually called Child's Play. Yes, I know that. I just... the character... For fuck's sakes. Anyway. As I'm over here talking to the voices in my head like a normal person. Oh yeah, by the way, the paintings inside of this elevator... As the elevator is going down, it's like the room is getting taller, so they do this. That's cute, that's fair enough. I don't dislike it. So this, I think, is actually the 3rd remote for the level. This is very much unlike Super Mario 64 in that you don't get, like, railroaded into anything depending on what mission you pick. It doesn't affect what you can or cannot pick up. It just basically tells you what hit you get when you start the level. Well, that's weird. Well, there's our hidden silver remote. Now, if you're wondering what those silver remotes do, I believe they open bonus stages. I said the gold remotes were to open bonus stages, but I'm an idiot. Those... I do not know what those do in this version of the game. Because again, that's not a thing that was there in the 64 edition, and the last time I saw anybody play this version of the game... Oh, excuse me. I did not mean to. The last time I saw anybody play this version of the game was... It had to have been back during, you know, the last administration of our current fearless leader. Back when he was the president and not Il Duce. But... he was always Il Douchey, but I digress. Anyway. Bad jokes aside, it had to have been like 6+ years ago. A guy that I followed, at least at the time, on YouTube, who I believe is like just... disappeared basically from the internet since then, who went by the username IronTorch20, played this on his YouTube channel, and I was like, wow, I've never seen this version of the game, and I have no idea how good or not it is. Oh, hey, wow, I haven't used this DuckStation memory card in many years. Is all I can say about that. Seeing X5 Crash Bash. Wow, I really didn't want to... I didn't want to load up my PS2 with the actual copy of Crash Bash, did I? Ugh.
Here's Gexy.
Oh, hey, you guys get that Shining reference for this children's game. I'm gonna be saying shit like that all the time, and I apologize, but it is so silly to look at this and be like, ah, yes, you made something that is very child-friendly, and you've made references like, you know, to a variety of horror movies. One of the worlds, he says something about, like, Jerry Garcia and Cheech and Chong and stuff like that. And it's like, man, who was this for, actually? Come to think of it. There's Frankenstein. We have both of the silver remotes here, so F it. We're gonna speedrun this level. At least to get to the end. We don't need to worry about that thing. Ah, yes, cutscene every time. Every time. You know, I guess maybe also is it fair to be like, oh, yes, these horror movie references, brilliant thing for children. Very, very thing they will understand and is very appropriate for them. You gotta remember also, this is like the period of Goosebumps, right? You know, back when that actually was the best-selling book series in the world and was actually kind of deserving of that. Or at least in America. But anyway, enough of me slagging off a certain person who is an absolute garbage human being, but in a very indirect manner. This is not about R.L. Stine. I'm not saying anything about R.L. Stine. Or Tim Jacobus, for that matter, who... Admittedly, yeah, Tim Jacobus's art is like... That's at least half the value of those books, unfortunately. But anyway. So, yes. Maybe it is a little arguably less weird than I'm being like, oh, this is such a choice. I mean, I'm not sure about Chucky per se, but like, yeah, no, I just have to make sure because I have perpetual reads YouTube comments syndrome, basically, which is a consequence of the fact that I do and have done video essays before, and let me tell you, you get some people who just do not understand the assignment in those comment sections. My suggestion to anybody who is thinking about getting into that line of stuff, don't. Or at least turn off your comments. Anywho. Only one more red to get in this level, and then we can go take on the boss, but there's a whole other regular level to take on first, and... Oh hey, there's just an automatic update your save option, like right at the top of the list. That's handy.
It's tail time.
I do like that. And now we get to go and destroy a bunch of water coolers full of blood. Well...
Hi, I'm here for the real-world interview.
All I can say is, that's a profoundly silly object to have in existence, period. So... Oh, hey, I get that one, but also, ooh, you are overdoing it, my friend. I actually probably would have gotten that one at the time, too, which is a little messed up. Oh, dang it, I forgot to go and break the thing in the other... I forgot what mission I'm on. Wow. What an absolute buffoon I am. That's extra health. I'll take it, gladly.
Larry King's barber? You're all right.
Yeah, for sure. I also am like a huge Pink Floyd fan. I have a copy of The Wall on VHS, actually, sitting over in the the bookcase in the back that used to be part of a video set before I decided, I don't think I want to have my face on videos too much anymore after, well, certain events that transpired late last year, we'll say. Nothing personal, I'll say that. It's the presidential election. And it's like, wow, the world is significantly more of a toxic shithole than I thought it was. But enough of that depressing nonsense. Let's get back to blinking lights that could be a hell of a lot worse, but probably do come on a little strong.
More and I have the whole set.
So there's a thing that you get a lot of in these levels where you have to destroy certain objects that are scattered throughout the level. This is our first instance of it, obviously. Judging by the fact that it's the first level that we went into, you can probably tell that. Which I suppose is a way to make these levels a little bit more open-ended, sort of in the style of the 3D platformers of the era, which was the style at the time. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even try to do Grandpa Simpson whatsoever. I can barely do my own voice most days, but... But as it were, yeah, because otherwise, this does have a tendency more towards, like, a fairly straightforward get to this part of the level style a lot of the time.
Man, how did I let this place go?
Like, obviously not completely. It's no Crash Bandicoot, but it is certainly a game that lends itself a little bit more to linearity, and I am having a realization that I definitely missed something. Because we're coming in here because I know that there's a water cooler in here. Listen, a fair percentage of your blood is water, I believe. Yeah, I mean, obviously not entirely, because there's hemoglobins and stuff like that. And also just the human body is a large percentage of water by mass, like 2/3 or something, I forget. It's a lot. And for a lot of people, it seems like it's a hell of a lot less. Stay hydrated, etc. God, I don't like to be this person. Oh, hey, there was the other thing. Yay, nice and easy. But I do feel like that because of the, like, stay hydrated bot and stuff like that, that a lot of the, you know, obviously drink water. That's legitimately very good advice for your health, and it's something that will help you not die. But it feels like sometimes that it's just sort of turned into a bit of a meme almost, to be like, hey, stay hydrated. No, you actually should stay hydrated, BT dubs, but it does sort of, if you'll pardon the phrase, muddy the waters a little bit. I know that's a really gross thing to say after I just said to stay hydrated, but I don't know. It feels like it's acquired a certain level of insincerity, which is quite unfortunate. So yeah, I always wondered what was the deal with those armors, with the fact that they just sort of drop the axe at their ankles, more or less. And there it is. There's our first boss, but we'll deal with that later. Obviously, it's not going to be that linear of a trek. We've got a whole other couple of levels and stuff to do before then. As we get into a level called Out of Tune. So this one is a little bit weird, and I will tell you for why. This level is set up in 3 distinct sections. The first remote that they give you is all the way at, like, the far end. This one's in the middle, and this one is the one that's closest to the start. I do not know why it's like that, but okay.
Note to self, don't drink tap water at Jerry Garcia's.
There you go. I told you it was a Jerry Garcia joke in here. Once again, things that children are absolutely not going to get. Also, I admit that I'm not like an expert in the field, but as much as the Grateful Dead were like a big time stoner band, I don't know if Jerry Garcia did a lot of hallucinogenics per se. But also, maybe that's just because I'm in this sort of place of like, whenever I think jam band music, I'm mostly going to be thinking weed more than anything, because goodness knows that is absolutely a stoner field. Anyway, never mind. Whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Joke is a little bit of something that the presumably very young target audience of this game might be quite confused by.
It's tail time.
Maybe their jams would have been... Ooh! I mean, that's fair. How's it going, Roundy? Yeah, you absolutely are coming in just like with the atomic level hot take for people, right?
To see the world as Keith Richards does.
Listen, I'm just gonna say that not everything is for everybody, and that is all I can say for sure about any level of music. I haven't really listened to a lot of the Dead's jams per se, and admittedly not too much Grateful Dead music period, actually, so... Perhaps my ability to say anything on the matter is very low. About the only thing I can tell you for sure about music is that Primus, the band Primus, we've heard the band Primus, most of us, has their own genre in the IDV3 tagging system that is used on MP3s and stuff like that in programs such as Winamp. Which, I know, yes, Winamp, I'm really old. I'm throwing out a really outdated reference to my audience of people who I'm pretty sure are all older than me still. But I just think that's funny, is all I have to add here. And personally, I suppose I guess I could be like, hey, do you guys agree with that sentiment? Do you think that Primus is such a weird group, musically speaking, that they deserve a whole genre to themselves? But perhaps I'm getting overly cynical about the idea ever since about this idea of like, oh, this band deserves a whole genre to itself, because I've run into a couple of people who have, you know, talked about some very hard to categorize bands at time, and I've been able to look at them and just be like, actually, I completely understand what this is. You are way overselling this. I am specifically talking about Sleep Token in this issue for anybody who's like, oh, what band are you talking about? It's Sleep Token. I listened to more to the newer Sleep Token songs because somebody was talking about them in a Discord I'm in and was like, I don't get it. And I was like, I'll listen to it. I've never heard this group before. I've heard people mention them. And it's like, oh, I get it. It's Faith No More for people who write ghost fan fiction. Which, wow, I'm out here saying things that, like, none of these words are in the Bible, right? Not in the same sense that whenever anybody else says, oh, none of those words are in the Bible, but, I mean, also from the perspective of, like, that's total nonsense, what you just said. I'm sure that at least one person is like, no, I understand that, which would probably be good, but... Anyway, yeah, metal-inspired grunge funk, yeah, for Primus, that kind of sums it up pretty well. Just as a rule, I think that I would say that anybody who is like, this group is too difficult to classify, they are probably pulling your leg. And especially if they're on the heavier side, you should listen to Faith No More and be like, okay, how much like... in particular, I would say Faith No More, The Real Thing, and Angel Dust, those albums. And be like, okay, how far off from that is it? Yeah, I will give that, like, it's kind of cool to see that there's like rock groups that actually have some semblance of popular penetration. Because it definitely feels like nowadays, if you are looking at anything that'll get onto a radio station in terms of rock music, you're definitely talking about like classic rock on classic rock stations. You know, it's unfortunately a bit of not the popular genre anymore. And, you know, some of you may disagree with that sentiment of unfortunately, but that's most of what I listen to. I very much listen to my parents' music by and large. Except for, like, my parents don't also listen to, like, Tiamat or Ashnika or anything like that. At least, God, I hope not. I had to explain that one Megan Thee Stallion song to my mom again recently, so there's no way she knows what modern music is. She probably doesn't even know that people make music anymore. That's a little mean. I'm sorry. But maybe I'm just in a slightly spicy mood now. Oh yeah, that platform. That's right. There's a thing over there. Hi, Tav. I'm not ignoring you. I'm sorry. I had a lot of words to say.
The government told me these experiments were over.
Afro Jazzadelic Funka Latino Bluegrass. That is not an unfair description, I think, when it comes to String Cheese Incident. They really do incorporate a wide variety of influences into a lot of their songs, so I gotta give it credit there. I forget now. It sounds like a familiar thing, but I do not remember for a fact if that is something you said or if I just completely imagined you saying it. But yeah, I hope the show is good. I mean, I've heard enough of their live performances to know they do usually put on a pretty fun show. They do some good stuff there. I mean, again, jam band. You would like to hope that they do a lot of fun stuff with their shows and you get the no two shows are the same kind of vibe. Anyway, I just wanted to get this thing. So we'll go back and we will deal with the Elmer Fuds next because that is the previous thing in the list. Ah, yes, a sentiment that makes complete sense. Anyway, we have abandoned our Bugs Bunny costume for some reason. Yeah, it's what you might call not subtle. So, excuse me.
It's tail time.
Ooh. Ah, right, because we have six. How do I see my totals game? Am I stuck, like, not seeing the totals until I go and get something? So, yes, these are the bonus levels. We get every 3 silver remotes, I believe, a bonus level shows up.
It's tail time.
Let's take a look at this just to break up things a little bit. Find the items in the given time. Yes, that is exactly what all of these are.
4 on the floor, baby.
This one, you get a completely unique visual palette, I guess would be the term. Because, like, all of the main levels, you have a couple of stages that have those settings. Like, we'll see another 2 at least of the horror movie set. We'll see at least one other of the cartoon levels. All of that stuff. This, I don't think, shows up for any of the regular platforming levels. As we get our low-budget Indiana Jones styling here. But yeah, all the bonus levels are quite simple. They are go through each of these levels and go pick up all of these collectibles that are strewn about everywhere. With the big asterisk of simple here does not necessarily mean easy. I mean, we're making good time on this so far, assuming that there's only 25 objects to pick up in the other side of the level. But some of these will get quite tricky, if I recall correctly. But also, you do have to remember that last time I ever really got this in-depth into anything, I was a child. So it's very possible that I just did not have the particular set of skills to be able to do those with any semblance of decency or efficiency or, you know, any sense of spatial reasoning skills or anything like that. I mean, I kind of lack in those departments anyway, but definitely when I was younger, I was worse at everything. If only I could have retained any of the reflexes or anything as a child. Or from when I was a child, rather. And yeah, you pick up all the doodads, and now you're off to go find yourself a gold remote. Which, in this case, saying find feels like a bit of a stretch. You don't even have to jump across those platforms. So I make no guarantees that we're going to 100% this game, but I am certainly going to at least give it a shot for as long as I am capable. And we're definitely going to get all the reds. I mean, that's just natural. I don't know if we require every red remote. And there are certain other things that are gated off by various other objects. So I just cannot confirm how much of everything we will get, but I will certainly try to get as much as possible. I mean, come on, how much can a game from 1998 beat me? Right?
To see the world as Keith Richards does.
As we think about how last week I was having issues with a game from 1997 because I forgot to close a door behind me. And then somebody had walked in and told me that that was the solution. In what arguably is an oblique manner, but still. I mean, yeah, to be fair, that's... yeah. That's also an RPG, but... hey, guess who doesn't remember where, like, certain things are in general in that game? I actually was very strongly considering starting up the, as I said I would do one time, doing like a Fire and Wind based run of that sometime soon. So I did have that on the list of potentialities, but unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what kind of person you are, I have chosen to do that. But in the other side of the camp is that I haven't removed it from the list of things that I may do at some point. Although, I mean, the list of stuff that I might play at some point on stream is of a fair length. I mean, yeah, it does sort of. And with the magic of emulation, I don't really have to worry about needing hardware for any of that. Although I do have a cart, and I do have an N64, so I mean, I could. Or I could look up and see if there's like a reasonably priced Japanese cartridge. I mean, obviously that would have to be a reasonably priced Japanese cartridge in this country, since, yeah, but I could do that, and I could finally remember to modify the cartridge slot of my N64, so that way I could fit that in there properly. I wonder if there'd be any other, like, special concerns like with that, like memory card or anything. Probably not, but regardless, I can just emulate it, so I mean, yeah, but if I just play a Quest 64 randomizer, like,
My inner child is coming
well,
out, and it hurts.
one, I have done a Quest 64 randomizer, and two, who knows what I'd end up with, especially depending on how much I actually randomize the game, so. But saying that, yeah, why does, like, every boss debuff you? From a design perspective, I mean, not like, oh, well, because they coded it, but why would they do that? That seems like massively overkill. You know, for all the buffs that already only last like 2 to 3 turns most of the time, right? Were they afraid of you Megatenning it that hard? Cause let me tell you, that does not seem practical. Although saying that some of the buffs are grossly overpowered in Quest 64. Most notably, obviously, Magic Barrier, which, you know, what were they thinking, right? What were they thinking? As if AVGN would get that far into it to what were they thinking that particular aspect, right? He'd probably just, like, have some over-the-top skit where he, I don't know, eats the cartridge or something. Actually, I haven't watched AVGN in so long that I don't know if that is a fair reflection of any of his current content. How often Dana Gould gets asked about Gex? Yeah, now that you say that, I wonder as well. That's right, there's a big old bumblebee over here, Tav. It's not even like, you know, a regular, like, sleek honeybee or anything. It's just a big, fat, fluffy bumblebee. You know, the ones that are even less dangerous, right? I mean, okay, you confuse other bees with wasps. I mean, fine. I bet wasps do that on purpose. They're kind of assholes, but
Sweet, like candy.
also, yeah, there's no traffic coming down this street on this
Pile this under ouch.
this traffic light that's having a moment. Oh god! I didn't even notice this sign. Pimp strutting. This game is rated for 6+ in the US. Things that you're allowed to say in an E-rated game back in 1998. Pimp strutting. Fantastic.
Shaka, bro.
I have nothing else that I can truly add to that, but like, that's an oh my god, I may have to. Hopefully I don't forget by the time I go to sleep tonight or something, because that's going in the pile of things that'll get Dan Salvato himself to get mad at me when I upload it to FFZ. Oh my god, oh, holy shit. I am delighted. This game was absolutely the correct choice then. Yay, we've beaten 6 levels. Let's go fight a boss, everybody. Before I, like, hurt myself from chuckling and, like, grinning too hard. That's some good voice acting you've got there, Rez. It's not distorted or anything. And here we go. The rather questionable, stereotypical Islander sort of, and yeah, it's whip the orb back at the bad guys and also dodge the firewalls. Did you want Aghanim, but with even less budget? Oh, this guy's moving around now. Okay. I see what you're doing here. Easy. I'd be embarrassed about taking 1 HP of damage there, but it was from the firewalls, and like every time a sort of firewall attack like that comes up in a 3D platformer of this era, like especially late 90s 3D platformer, because they all tend to be very 2D. I do tend to have like issues knowing where the hurt box on them is. Also, I'm just kind of bad at video games, so you know, I'm a little bit on the rusty side in general, which is a little bit of a strange thing to say when you're continuously playing them, but I digress. We've got 3 new levels here, and this area is open with 14 red remotes, which I believe means we can go down the green gate once we actually clear everything out here. No, wait, no, there's only 7 here, so we'll be 1 off. That's a thing for the N64 version in that case. Red gate is blocked by our second boss, who we're going to be facing here when we have 9 reds, called Mushu Pork. Haha, puns. Speaking of puns, over here we've got Kung Fu Theater named Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong, yes. Fantastic. And of course, using a very old transliteration of Chinese characters. But I digress. And Frankensteinfeld for our second Scream TV level. You know, for kids, yeah. This game is like one of the most, you know, for kids that I've played in a while. And Circuit Central, www.com.com. Yes, that's incredibly stupid. The level with the pimp strutting sign was called Out of Tune. So, yeah, it's the second level. I should hopefully be able to remember that is in, like, the first hour of the VOD, so I can... If nothing else, I can go grab a screenshot of that and, like, make it hopefully look not like shit. I mean, if somebody's got the textures, that might help even more. But, get a load of that wacky internet. Yeah, I know, right? Back in the days when you got so many of those America Online CDs. You ever just miss the America Online CDs for some reason? Edit out many signs. Somehow I'm not super surprised.
Coming soon, The Wizard of Oz 2000.
Hey, I'd watch that, Gex. Shut up. Anyway, here we are inside your computer, just like the theme on the old Microsoft Windows versions there. We put AOL CDs in the microwave for 5 seconds. Man, fair enough. I mean, you gotta do something with them. I hope no, like, horrible accidents ever happened there, because I've always I mean, I've never personally done it, so I can't be like, oh yeah, that definitely is a dangerous thing to do. But yeah, music changes when we get this charge up here, which I screwed up horribly, so I can't show you what it does until I get back up in that location. But you can probably guess, turns on those bridges, get those launchers, you get your stock sound effect. Well, once again, entirely fair. That's a quite reasonable thing, but I was one of those folks who was always very subject to a lot of, like, parental scaremongering. Maybe to an extent that might be considered a little embarrassing. But, yes. Anyway. Wow, I fell off the thing again. Amazing. I think the camera was spinning at the time, though, so I'm taking that as an excuse. Anyway, big you don't say to the Japanese version editing out some of the signs. Although I'm not sure how many Japanese players would have been familiar with the phrase pimp strutting, so... You know what, let me at least get that saved in a tab here. You've been redirected. Thank you, Indie Wiki Buddy. Do you have a... Oh, I see why I didn't recognize that. On top of that, there's an N64 screenshot there that says cool strutting instead. Yeah, of course. The Nintendo definitely they had as much taste as, well, as usual. I definitely... God, I don't even remember what we ever did with any of those AOL CDs. I definitely remember, you know, referring to them as like, hey, free coaster, at least a couple of times, so... Admittedly, cool strutting is very funny as well, but... for different reasons. Oh, hey, we're getting multiple, like, alternate tracks when we use the electricity orb. That's cool. Maybe even cool strutting. God, I'm just delighted by this one fucking sign. Oh. Thank you all for thank you all for being here and informing me that this is just the of all of this. I'm a train wreck now. After we picked up those batteries, now we got some light emitting diodes. Y'all remember when LEDs were like always that big? And nowadays you can just go and get like a flat tape with like, you know, 1 per inch, and they are tiny. Well, okay, big asterisk, you might not be able to do that so easily anymore because, you know, tariffs. Tiny and insanely bright. Absolutely. So I really do kind of love, like, little things with LEDs in them. Because, I don't know, makes monkey brain go, ooh, pretty lights or something. And I've gotten quite a few of those as, like, little pieces of LED tape and use them as things to light various... Mostly that bookcase that I keep talking about. Maybe one day I gotta, like, have pictures of that somewhere so you guys can see all the goofy shit that I keep in there. I got a couple of, like, those hard top loaders for trading cards. Like, just sort of poster putty to the back, but which is probably the worst way to put them in there, but whatever. Just to have something in the background. Remember, this started as a thing that was just going to be in the background of videos, and, you know. But it's proven to be useful for storing things that are just kind of, you know, nice to look at and be like, hey, yeah, here's a thing that I like. In an era where it seems like increasingly the amount of reasons to be happy might be going down. Take some enjoyment in the simple stuff. Also, these bridges are firing these weird energy discuses. Talks a lot less in this than in the original. So I'm trying to think, because I haven't touched the original 2D Gex in a very long time. But yeah, I think they did kind of dial it back a little bit. Because yeah, the original 2D Gex is, in my opinion, not what you would call a great 2D platformer. It is, once again, quite a bumpy ride. It's one of those games where they made the sprites absolutely fuck massive. And it causes some... Well, hey, there's our first death. It causes some quite serious problems. That the fact that the sprites in Gex 2D are so large, not the fact that I died, although that does have its own issues. Thank you very much. That will prove to be absolutely, that will be a wonderful addition to this channel. Let me make sure that I crack that open in a tab here, so I can have that ready in the background for later on. I do have emote slots for my main channel, yes. Because I do extremely little with that, and it's like, oh, I drew this lemming in MS Paint once, like eons ago. And this is when I was even less of a skilled artist than I am now, and I'm not a skilled artist now. But I also am the sort of person who's like, okay, I'm going to use the fact that I'm less than a, you know, adept artist for humorous effect. So there's probably also that feeding into it. But yeah, that is absolutely going to be somewhere. I'm genuinely curious if I would actually be allowed to use it in my regular channel emotes, because alt channel, yeah, just because of the virtue of like, hey, it's an actual asset from a game. Although I guess I've seen people who do that on occasion.
I'm trapped in outtakes of The Wiz.
The Wiz. Wow, what a reference, Gex. That might be one somebody gets. But yeah, and also again, I don't know how much like sense of humor the Twitch emote guys, whoever does any of that, will have. Because while we all agree that the Pimp Struttin' sign is hilarious, they might be a little bit more sensitive on that one. I mean, God, I hope not. I will absolutely try, though. Originally, I was thinking about just shoving it into FFZ, which I know doesn't have any real compunction about like, oh, hey, you're using actual assets from an existing piece of software. Just use the diamond. That's a good point. Yeah, I think that'll do well enough. And it can just be named Lunari, whatever my number is there, Strut. And that will do absolutely fine. This is like the first time I've had an idea for an emote in like forever. Redraw it, or have someone else redraw it for you. I mean, the latter option would be a little more feasible if I were you know, in better financial position. But if like just the straight asset is not okay, surely it would be something that I could kind of like draw over a fair approximation of
Slip of the tongue.
using a piece of software that actually has layers. It would take a while, but I could probably get there. But yes, this is a good idea. Unfortunately, this launch tower is not such a good idea. Yeah, I wouldn't want to go into anything like that with a presumption of that sort of thing, so I will absolutely make sure that, regardless, yes, without diving too deeply into any of the complexities here of any of that, this emote is a good idea, and thank you all very much for like really correcting me when I was like, that's only half a joke, but yeah, that's. I'm also glad that we've all managed to immediately have fun with this. Because, yes, I have a lot of happy childhood memories of this game. You know, again, even when I'm coloring inside the lines video game-wise, I'm definitely playing something that maybe might raise some questions and or eyebrows.
Where this came from.
Did I ever tell you folks about when I was a kid, the first time I got to one of the levels in Lemmings, specifically the level Menacing, and by the way, after I just have gone through that absolute fucking ordeal, I am going backwards because I want to go get some more collectibles to make sure that I get the remote for 120 doodads. Yeah, so let me actually try finishing a story for once. So yeah, I got up to that level, and you gotta remember that this is a time when Mortal Kombat related hysteria was at something of a peak, even though when I got to this point, I must have been like at least 8 or something. So by that point, the Mortal Kombat that there was to be hysterical about was MK4. And not to say that MK4 was necessarily like unpopular or anything, but definitely the game was not exactly at the same level of like wild fandom that it had been when the series first started, right? They started doing the Street Fighter 2 thing with MK3, and I don't know if people actually fell off at that point, but it's not far off chronologically speaking. Let's get some more collectibles so that way we can. But yeah, I remember I saw that and I shut the game off, both like immediately, both because I was kind of freaked out by that, by the Menace tribute level. And in particular, the fact they really did use like the bloodiest and nastiest stage in all of Menace for that one, which is interesting.
You are my secret friend.
When there are quite a few other stages in Menace that have some, in my opinion, slightly more interesting styles for them. But whatever. Yeah, no, it scared the pants off of me, and also it was a game that I really liked, so I was like, oh, I don't want my parents to see this. They'll freak out, and I will never be allowed to touch a computer again. My parents have never seen that level of Lemmings, so I think I managed to get out in the clear here. I remember eons ago hearing Round the Wheel tell a similar story, and you know, again relating to Mortal Kombat. And when I say eons ago, I mean when he played DOS Lemmings on his more recent YouTube channel. I unfortunately missed all the old stuff when his original channel, before his original channel got 8, because YouTube apparently didn't think it was as funny that he used a Beastie Boys song for a video, if I recall correctly. And they annihilated his original YouTube channel. And when I say original, I mean that's like over 10 years, probably closer to 15 years at this point. Anyway. Yeah, you know, just turn off just the blood and that will fix Mortal Kombat, right? But as always, it's the most salient things that tend to get the strongest reactions. That people just be like, oh, all that red stuff. But then again, honestly, that probably is like the least, one of the least offensive of the many things in Mortal Kombat that are quite not child appropriate. Is this the wrong way? This is the wrong way. Whoops. You saw it embedded in art. Wow. Damn, so you really are a minor internet celebrity. I'm saying this partially off the basis of you recently being interviewed by what I believe was a Star Trek podcast for your blog Deep Space Spines, which is, for those not in the know, for those who are not knowledgeable of lore of one channel, but God help you two, Round the Wheel is the author of a blog called Deep Space Spines, which recounts things from Star Trek novels. Which, I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not expect there to be a ton of content about on the internet, so it is very cool to have somebody out there who is cataloging that stuff. Not because it's unpopular. I mean, obviously it's still Star Trek, but it's like once you get into the novels of a franchise like that, that's the Crash Woe emote. Oh, that's a good point. I somehow don't have one of those yet. And I've played how much Crash Bandicoot? I think I've played 5 Crash games on this channel.
This looks like an all-nighter at Richard Simmons' house.
Ironically, none of them have ever broken down in any way whatsoever. Actually, that's not true. I played the PS2 version of Wrath of Cortex on emulator, and it died in the level Droid Void, I believe. I believe that's what it was called. Yeah, it was called Droid Void. And at one point, the graphics just, like, got like a big pile of noise attached to them, and I was just like, well, I can't see anymore. And I ended up canceling the stream midway through because of that, but I ended up replaying it on GameCube later, and probably thanks to playing it on Dolphin and Dolphin's load times with a lot of game disc images, the loading times on that ended up being basically, you know, Black Label PS2 era style. So, yeah. Anyway, I got a little sidetracked here. There was technically somewhere in there a story about the fact that I didn't beat Lemmings as a child because I was freaked out by the gross level. Oh, hey, that's a bonus level called Thursday the 12th. Get it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's tail time.
So yeah, this will be what we get when we go the other way, and we have to go across a bunch of these things. Sidetracked. Oh.
Boys, Tron didn't work once. It's not gonna work twice.
Ooh, ouch! About that, Gex. How many Tron movies are there now? And they're making another one? Also, Jeez, man, somebody has never heard the phrase cult classic before. Which is a little ironic in this case, but I digress.
Taste my tail.
Oh, that's fantastic. Nice. And yeah, here's this platforming style, but even more of a pain in the butt. Because, yeah, these platforms are quite hard to see. They are significantly easier to notice on the N64, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But alright. And we get a checkpoint on this side, because I guess this is a longer quest. The Poe and the Gerudo oh, I mean... Except I don't need a Lens of Truth this time. Which is good, because... Hey, I've played enough Oot Rando that every time I need to cross the desert, the game is like, no Lens of Truth for you, Buster. And I have to go, well, that's a really rude thing to say. Also calling me Buster? What are you, channeling Jane from Homestuck? I'm sorry! I'm terribly sorry. Well, okay, I should rephrase that. I'm terrible at being sorry. Yes, that's right. If you press my head, it doesn't pop like a bubble and make a dice roll. Wait. So there is actually a 100% that you can do. It's just that you only need the collectibles the one time. So the collectibles are kind of like your standard gather 100 in a level, but not quite. I explained this earlier, but I don't mind explaining it again. So in every level, there are 3 like types of collectibles. And when you collect 30, you get a 1-up and it switches to the next set. You collect 40, you get another 1-up and it switches to the third set. Like now, we've collected 30 of these 9-volt batteries. So our targets now are these LEDs.
Look like a butterfly, sting like a gecko.
And if we collect 40 of the LEDs, it will switch over to the third collectible for the stage, which I think is like a green atom or something. And you guessed it, if you collect 50 of those, you will, well, you'll unlock the collectible silver remote for the level. One of the two. There's another silver remote that's just hidden in the level. I mean, yeah, I think that's a pretty fair... It's a virus. I couldn't get a good look at it, so I'll take your word for it. That doesn't sound like an unfair interpretation, though, so... Yeah. Yeah, ultimately, it going through a wall is not that bad. It's not like if they were notes from Banjo-Kazooie or something. Which, obviously, no enemies in Banjo-Kazooie dropped the notes. Or like the coins in Mario 64, there's a pretty good quantity of each of these collectibles in any level. I don't think we're ever gonna butt up against limitations of like trying to get 100 coins in Dire Docks, which Dire Docks is like 104 coins or something like that. I forgot the exact number because I'm forgetful, but it's not a lot. And yes, by the way, for anybody who is, like, not that level of Mario 64 familiar, you do in fact have to do that by choosing a specific star in order to access the red coins on top of that. So you can only get that under certain circumstances. And also, my depth perception is... I don't know how much of it is just, like, the level coloring or my eyes deciding, hey, we don't like you anymore. But yeah, you can tell that I am playing this like absolute, you know, not great. That's better. In fact, I probably had to do that the whole time, just, yeah. So since we already got the 2 silvers in this level, as you can see, I'm not even, you know, going too ham on the collectibles, but... yeah, part of it probably is, like, the coloration and shading and a little bit of... this era of 3D platforming, I feel like depth was not always well communicated. Excuse me, was not always well communicated, so... as much as I am only of questionable competence, I think we should probably blame the game a little bit for some of this. Yeah, exactly. Let's check out Frankensteinfeld. Here's another one of these. And we've got some levels. Oh, God. Oh, Tiny Huge Island has a lot of things that are awful. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's where the game is just like, hey, the kid gloves are off. We're gonna make you race. We're gonna make you race Koopa the Quick a second time. And it's gonna be into the wind, and he's gonna not give a fuck. And also... oh, that level also had the Wiggler Cave. Well, more notably, the 8 red coins in the Wiggler Cave. That one kind of sucked. Wiggler himself, I don't know, I made him squirm pretty good. Which, if I threw that accent a little bit harder, that would sound like a... oh god, am I allowed to say that would sound like something out of Deliverance? I mean, obviously I'm being very oblique about it, but... that might be a little bit zesty for some people. God, I'm thinking about all the times I've seen Paddle Faster, I Hear Banjos shirts. You get it, guys? Because the things that happen... you get it, guys? Because everybody gets it. Anyway. So, this level...
smell like I feel.
...is one that has sort of that branching area at the start there that we saw. And it's a little bit on the odd side that it is so... you know, so, like, carefully broken up like this. This entire room is very, very odd, if I recall correctly. So if we keep going from here, we'll get to another remote. It's not the one that we saw the hint for, I don't think. So, yeah. Oh god, yeah, that sounds like... that sounds like what happened to me on Rainbow Ride. Oh, so this... I was gonna say, is this a hidden area? It's a teleport to up here. Okay, good. At least we can catch ourselves on that pretty easily. That pumpkin is making some noises up there, huh? Oh, down there. Whoops. Whoops. Wow.
Gonna kick your butt.
That... Again, they're much harder to jump on like that than I thought. Unfortunately, you can't just regular jump on things to give them the Goomba Stomp. You have to use your tail. But hey, we got a firefly. That's helpful. It doesn't provide us with any light, but we don't really need that much.
I gotta make.
That's not what it's here for. Whoop. Now hold on just a second there. Expect me to...
So this is
Yeah.
Neverland. You'd never guess it from the outside.
The wall crawling I find a lot of fun. I mean, I kind of enjoy this game from my memory quite well. I'm sure that by the time I get to the end of this, I'll be like, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever played. But...
Lily, have you seen Grandpa?
Okay, not literally, but also... I'm just saying I expect to find it to have been a bit rougher than I originally remember by the time I get to the end. But until then, I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time, having a good time.
Indigestion.
Oh yes, this looks like a dangerous location, but it's actually a hidden remote. I thought it was just collectibles. That works.
I'm flaming. In the manly way.
Ah, yes, very outdated uses of words. Anyway, I guess I can't get up there from here, so... This was a fun diversion, or something. Hey, Iron Fury, how's it going? Hope you're having yourself a, well, you know, by your standards, because shit's always rough. Good evening by your standards. There we go.
Whoa.
In the Oblivion remaster. Yeah, how is that? I've heard sort of a mix of reviews that very strongly hinge specifically on how much was the jank of original Oblivion an important part of its, like, character kind of thing. So...
Time to go postal. Nap time.
So I have not played it yet, so I can't really weigh in on anything other than, yeah, this is what I've heard about it, which is that most people saying things that they're less positive about is just like, well, this game used to be really janky and that was part of the charm. So insofar as making a game that's less jank, that probably means they've accomplished their goal. All right. Well, that... Again, hey, if they didn't change it too much, other than graphics overhaul and, yeah, probably some new voices, because, well, at bare minimum, you probably would need a few new voices, a few new VAs for any sort of, like, remake of a game. Especially if the recordings were, like, of really questionable quality. Not that Bethesda was small when Oblivion came out, so I can't even be like, oh, did you guys not have a budget or something? Because, you know, surely they would have. I remember Morrowind being quite popular. So they would have been able to do basically whatever the hell they wanted for Oblivion. Ah, right. Yeah, that's the part I was getting around to, I guess, after I did something like that, which was going to be something like, oh yeah, you know, Cyan didn't have a budget in 93, so they literally just had to throw Rand and Robin Miller and some shit they found in the thrift store. And then in Riven, they had John Keston. But anyway, yeah, setting all that aside. So, yeah, expanding out the set of voices for, well, not just the playable characters, but especially the playable characters. That's pretty big. That's a pretty good improvement. I will absolutely say that. Can only weigh in so far on Oblivion, really, because I actually kinda didn't initially pick up too much on the Elder Scrolls franchise. One of these days I'll probably get around to more of those than just having played Skyrim. But I'm not always the fastest at anything, as anybody knows at this point, so... Oh, no, I think, Gex, you're the one who's saying hello to the floor. That thing was up and it still hit me. That's rude. Added 2 new quests, but they're just for some unique armor in the remaster. Gotcha. Is this unique armor, like, any good? With the asterisk here of course, we're sort of covering all good. Is, you know, does it look cool? Does it do what, you know, does it have good stats? Depending, of course, entirely on what the purpose of it is. If it's to look cool or have good stats or what. Or even just be like an interstitial thing for newcomers or for somewhere else in the tree where there was just nothing for some reason. But again, as long as the equip progression is anything like Scrim, I'm pretty sure that Skyrim had stuff at like every 5-10 levels of certain stats, so. Ah, I get you. No, Tev, you have to pay for the horse armor, you fool. You have to pay real life money. People were memeing the hell out of that one, obviously, because, well... Hey, what do you do when a joke comes past you twice? You say it both times, because of course you do. Gex means Dragoon. Yeah, pretty much. I mean... In one boss fight, he turns into Godzilla, so he's, you know, some sort of dragon affiliation. And of course, all the Kung Fu movie themed levels that he gets into. Oh. Oh, I didn't see you there, Chucky. Good job, me. Actually, isn't that like part of how Chucky keeps doing his shit in the Child's Play franchise? Is because like nobody would suspect the little buddy doll or whatever it was called. Good Buddy, I think. Again, I'm not a film person, so like the fact that I actually can say any of this, and if I get any of it wrong, I obviously mean no offense. I'm just a fool. Yes, I know the name of the film isn't Chucky. That is true. So I can continue to be irritating by specifically calling it that. Oh god. You get out of here, skull throwing skull man. We don't have enough collectibles for that other silver remote yet. So since I have a very sizable stick up my butt. That was a pretty long fall to actually not kill me. I mean, there's no fall damage in this game, but there are bottomless pits, damn it. So yeah, I fully expected that to just be a bottomless pit, but I'm gonna have to go and die some other way to reset the level. I mean, I could just walk back through the level, but I'm not good enough at this for that. Are you kidding me? How do I get to... Is this the, like, ceiling cling maze and I forget how to even start that? It would be, wouldn't it? Anyway. Whatever, just walk into this guy's toe and we die. Let's show me a... That will not show me a preview. Thank you, Frankerface Z, I think, specifically, for hovering over the link.
Now cut that out.
Anyway. But yes, I forgot what I was gonna say. So, whatever it was, just assume that I said it, and please pretend that it was funny. Please clap and all that. Can you guys believe, by the way, that that was like 8 years ago? Was the Jeb Bush please clap? What an absolute nightmare universe we live in. Ah, you, Mr. Low-budget Frankenstein, are kind of a rude fellow. I forgot what I was actually gonna say, so we're sticking with rude fellow. Rude fellas, not to be confused with good fel- Wait. This joke is dumb. Just like all of them. Glad they didn't censor the game at all. I do not know what they would censor, but also I'm not very Oblivion familiar, so like... I don't know. I can't say much about that. Oh, so like every fantasy franchise ever. Yeah, no, if they had weakened that on any level, like, I mean, I sort of get the point of that doesn't have to exist in every fantasy franchise, but that's more like advice for writing something new, in my opinion. If you're cutting it out of an existing franchise, and again, this doesn't apply to like, okay, you're writing D&D 6th edition or whatever. In fact, I think 5th edition kind of like cuts down on a lot of the racism. But basically it's like, okay, if you're making Elder Scrolls 6 and you decide that you want this version of the world to like maybe have gone a little bit beyond that. Okay, whatever. But for a remake of an old game, cutting that out when, you know, especially because the point is generally not, hey, this is a good thing that we're showing you in, you know, usually they're showing it because that's not good of a thing to exist in the world and it exacerbates problems even further. Or again, it's elves, so I would widely suspect that the whole problem there is that, like, it's the elves doing that out of racism, but I digress. Anywho, that's entirely fair, Roundy. But basically my point is that, like, cutting out the fantasy racism out of an old thing, as opposed to, like, if you're making a new entry in a series or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like, again, what I'm getting at here is that it's there to show that racism kind of isn't great. So cutting that out of a remaster would be some serious weenie shit, to put it nicely. Like, oh, what? You're afraid of losing the racist dollar that probably is pirating your game in the first place because they believe that the various entertainment industry overarching companies owe them things? Anyhow, that's just me having a minor complaint about how things can be done badly sometimes, but I digress. And yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I played Skyrim, and also Skyrim, I had the DLC for it too, so it had even more of the usual matter of it being like this massive sandbox where I would just like, oh yeah, there is technically an MSQ, there's a main story quest,
When did we enlist?
but I'm going to just go do everything else for a little while.
There's plenty more where this came from.
And, you know, I'm gonna be this lizard person and go get strong enough to wield the dragon bone hammers and stuff for no good reason. And I'm going to make a huge amount of nails and build this house. Oh, what? You mean that there's dragons and stuff out there? I mean, that's cool. Unfortunately, I'm gonna keep getting sidetracked here.
If this were a video game, I'd be on my way to prison.
Gonna be an Argonian again? Nice. Like I said, well, as I suppose more I alluded to, big fan of the reptile fellas. I do enjoy a good lizard man when the games will give you
Tongue, darling.
some fun designs there.
It's tail time.
Well, I suppose note to self that other than making the pimp struttin' sign emote, there's gonna be a little bit of me remembering to install Skyrim later tonight and play some of that, which I haven't done in actual years. Yeah, you know, Tef, it's a real pity that we can't like co-op that, unfortunately.
It's
Unless we can, and I don't know about that, because, I don't know, it would be funny to cause problems for each other, like we always do. Anyway. You guys didn't see that mouse cursor that was in there for a brief moment. Sorry.
No, no, I wanted the pit there and the pendulum there.
I'm a clumsy goofus. There is a mod, but it's really easy to break. Well, you know what? I expect no less from a Bethesda game. In, like, the most positive way.
real estate wizard.
So...
Who at work?
Holy shit! Oh my god, did he just... That's a deep cut, dude. Tom Vu, okay. I only learned about that a couple years ago. So Tom Vu is a guy who is basically selling a scam get-rich-quick guide on infomercials that basically kind of added up to, hey, flip houses for money. And yeah, so that absolutely,
Come on your own side.
as you can tell by the fact that I cracked the fuck up from that, like, that was quite the sideswipe there. So as much as people definitely make fun of Gex for being, like, way too talkative, and I've made some jokes before. I said something that, like, the remake versions of Bubsy... Remake. Oh, God. The new Bubsy games, he talks as much as Gex, because whoever confused those two. But I will say this, whoever put these scripts together definitely is like knowledgeable enough about weird garbage pop culture that they do pull out some references here and there that just really make me go like thank you, Roundy, for also getting me to basically do the exact noise that I make when, well, oh God. Seriously, that's, man, who is gonna get that? Well, me, obviously, because I'm a complete freak, but
Say hello to the floor.
Maroonus Dagon. So the one thing that I've learned about anything to do with fiction is don't trust anybody named Dagon. It's the only thing I can truly add to that off the top of my head here, Fury. Other than I'm also sitting here like thinking about how many names I just no longer remember from Elder Scrolls lore, except I remember Clavicus Vile. You guys remember Clavicus Vile, right? He was a dog. He was possessing a dog, more like, but
Take career advice from Joe Piscopo.
with the asterisk here once again that I do not remember the exact happenings of what Clavicus Vile was doing with that dog other than talking through a dog, but you know, Clavicus Vile, good name. Also reminds me of this one Homestar Runner strong bad email for some reason where like Strong Bad does like the most over the top deletion that he ever does on any of them, and it involves like doing a whole massive leap and a backflip in midair and slamming his whole body down on his keyboard. And at the end of it, he goes, "Oh, I think I broke my clavicus majoris." And it's just like, I don't know why I remember that, but now there you go. Now just imagine somebody in Elder Scrolls just talking like Strong Bad, and there you go. Roundy Del Taco? Anyway, roommates that had an argument. I'm sorry, I missed like half of the conversation here because I said something very silly and I got sidetracked as a result. Hooray! It's just like I always do. Also, this ceiling maze has turned out to be like 1% of this particular remote, hasn't it? And there's a Chucky doll from Let's Play or whatever that movie franchise was called. I already said it earlier, but that's never happened on this web zone. Absolutely not. Invincibility mode called Safe Gex. I'm going to be honest with you. I would be shocked if, well, okay, I suppose maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but there is a collection coming out soon of the Gex trilogy. Unfortunately, it is a limited run production, so you know what I say about that is, even in digital format, I think that's something that you've got to pirate just out of like, oh, you call yourselves limited run? Well, fuck you. Just to, again, not necessarily that I'm out here like, hey, you should pirate every do whatever. Do not listen to me as if I'm issuing legal advice, because obviously that stuff is still not legal to pirate no matter what. But on some level, it's just the principle of the thing, not just because of Limited Run being, well, the company they are, but just as a matter of like, oh, your entire business model is based on artificial scarcity and calling yourselves Limited Run. Well, I think that I disagree with you. And realistically, you should disagree with Limited Run on a lot of principles, not just the drop shipping. Oh. Yeah, quite a few of their duelets are like drop shipped from China, basically, as far as I understand. Which, okay, practically everything these days is, but still. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that explains why they can't afford to have a physical copy of an actual physical copy of the Raito game in the upcoming collector's edition for it. The upcoming $250 collector's edition of Raito Kuzunoha that doesn't have an actual game on the cartridge. It's basically a code in the box kind of setup. Yeah, exactly, because I assume they actually kind of care. Meanwhile, limited run games is kind of like... I hesitate to say this, but limited run games is kind of like the less slimy version of Pico. And I don't just hesitate to say that because... Not that he's ever going to hear it, but Elazar Galindo... Eliezer? His name is spelled L-E... whatever, the short version of it is Eli. It's E-L-E-A-Z-A-R, so I'm not familiar with pronouncing it, but yeah, he is very lawsuit happy, is my understanding. Ellie, what? Yeah, that's how I speak most French things, which, by the way, I have a very sad take about Clair Obscur, but I've never played it, so I will shut up about that, and also because I don't necessarily want to piss on anybody's parade too badly. Anyway, so where the fuck was I? Oh yeah, because Pico Interactive also does a lot of like churning out ports of by and large forgotten things from retro eras that often are not like the greatest ports you've ever seen. Like that version of Glover that came out is kind of infamous for being very for being a quality product in the same way that a certain infamous anime cabbage was. But oh god, we're not going to finish this the first time through. I apologize for making myself look like a complete clown. I missed 2 collectibles. I don't know offhand where they are. Anywho. Yeah, point here is that, like, it's that sort of just churning these things out for purposes of making money off of predatory nostalgia sort of things, right? But yes, also, what Roundus said there, I am absolutely with him on Bubsy 1 defense. Bubsy 1 was a real video game. And I say that in a way that unfortunately probably does sound a little bit more of like a brush off and like a bad joke, but no, Bubsy 1 was actually quite playable. And also, yes, that Fractured Furry Tales is like... So, I don't know if everybody's going to agree with my take on this. Bubsy 2 was quite good as well. I also enjoy Bubsy 1. I suppose that you may ask questions about my taste, but Tav, you have to remember, I did buy you Daikatana that one time, so I may be a little bit sick in the head anyway. Bubsy 3D is memed on. Bubsy 3D is indeed not good. So, but I will say this. Bubsy 3D may not be good. I think Fractured Furry Tales is worse. And this might be sitting in like a very like nuclear hot take. but also Fractured Furry Tales is a game. It is a game. There we go. It's I feel that when you screw up a 2D platformer that late on, like, they didn't have the excuse that they did for Bubsy 3D, right? Where Bubsy 3D is a game that Bubsy 3D deserves its reputation. I'm not going to say otherwise because I'm not a fool. But also, Bubsy 3D at least started out as a legitimate attempt by the folks at Accolade to try to innovate. Like, they were a very early 3D platformer. And at least when they started development, and then they went to a tech show and they saw Mario 64 come out and they were like, oh my god, we are going to get our asses kicked. So the Bubsy 3D team went over to the guys at Accolade and said, hey, we need more time for this. And the guys upstairs at Accolade said, go eat shit. And they went, oh my god, we are going to get absolutely fucking annihilated. And they just released it as is, as bare and naked as they could get away with, because that was all they could do at that point. Was just go, oh god, we are so fucked. I just have to hope that we can get away with this. I think it kind of is, like, unfinished as a consequence of that. Also, I fell, so good job, me. Yeah, they got absolutely fucked by the fact that someone else had a significantly better idea and they just happened to be releasing it like right about the same time. So nobody had a chance for there to ever be a phase where Bubsy 3D was like, oh, hey, this is innovative and it served as a useful footstool or at least historical footnote. It just went straight to being worst game ever material. So I feel a little sad about Bubsy 3D in a way that I do not feel bad about Fractured Furry Tales, which is a comically awful 2D platformer. And I suppose that Bubsy on the Jaguar probably already has this feeling of like, oh, there's a stink about this. By the way, yes, there is a pattern to this level. I just haven't learned it because I am not good at that. Anyway, yeah, I assumed that not a whole lot of people would hear Bubsy on the Jaguar and assume it to be good. But I think it is bad in a different way than most people would assume. Because I think most people would hear Bubsy on the Jag and they would think that it's like any of the basically tech demo ass, like, single-digit frame per second stuff that you got on the Jag that looked like, you know, like vector-based shmups from 10 years prior in the arcade, you know? Yeah, it's already swimming double upstream for most people's opinion of it. I have to give respect to the folks behind the Jaguar, at least that part of Atari's team, which I guess I have to say that, yeah, when we talk about Atari, that's always a really weird place because Atari has basically been like multiple companies throughout history. And so the Atari that was working on the Jag and was willing to just like put that documentation out there into the world for people to do homebrew stuff with, very cool of them. That's actually quite admirable. And I forget how I got up here in the first... Go up! Ah, fine. I mean, I'm sure that whoever's involved with whatever version of quote-unquote Atari is releasing the Bubsy collection, I'm sure that they can go bump a stump, but I don't personally know offhand the current status of Atari. I assume that it's basically just a brand owned by a holding company. 'Cause that's how it goes.
That's what I call getting some tape.
That's very likely. But also, I do have kind of a very dismal view of how children perceive a lot of retro games, period. So, oh, hello, Mr. Brian Sulphur. How did the rest of the hockey go? How did the whale manage to not get turned into oil?
It's tail time.
16-2. That sounds half decent. I'll say that. You opened up that round of NHL 94. BT Dubs, Bryce Ulf was playing NHL 94 with his friend Jackamus Wedge. He got his first round. They were paired up against the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, that's a big oof.
Man, this place smells like ducks.
The Pittsburgh Penguins in that game, yeah, they are quite the bastards. Also, yes, here we have ninjas in our kung fu film. I would say something about like, oh yeah, wow, leave it to, they can't tell the difference between Japan and China, but I assume Singapore Sling, isn't that a reference to a movie? That's like, that's pretty rough for the youths once again. Anywho, is Gex wearing a smoking jacket? It sort of looks the part, but I think he's supposed to be like an Asian kung fu master of a, you know, very nebulous racial background, because hey, this sort of stuff does blend together, and in terms of like, especially for the devs, and I don't want to drop the hammer too hard on this, because a large part of it is like, hey, the joke is just sort of like, you know, it's playing off of TV tropes, not the website. That wouldn't come out for a very long time, but also it is a little bit, you know, it's rather dated. We'll say that. Wow, a game that came out in 1998 is dated in 2025. Who could imagine? Yeah? And yeah, exactly. That's the thing, is I question how much more we need in the world, but this is something that is fair to exist. Everybody unbunch your underwears. And Roundy, you thought he'd gone all Hugh Hefner for all of a sudden? Well, I think it would make sense in a game with a sign that says pimp strutting, so like, who could blame you, yeah? See, every time you make like a Gex sex pun, I think about the fact that there was a sign in Gex 3D and what Gex 3D. Oh my god, this is technically Gex 3D, but Gex 3, pardon me, where in the background of one of the locations there was just a poster out somewhere that said no premarital Gex, which is a little bit unsubtle even by the standards of, I know saying that Gex is ever a franchise possessed of subtlety seems a little bit strong, but that does seem like a little bit, you know, you are slightly overdoing it, but I will laugh anyway. And yeah, classic sound of a very small gong there. That's not necessarily too far off from what a small gong would sound like, I guess. You laughed, what does it say about... Well, hey, I don't think it's a bad thing to laugh at it. It's just, you know... Hey, I think it's funny, so... Listen, humor is sort of this thing, right? Where just because it's easy doesn't mean doesn't mean it's not worth laughing at once in a while if you think it's funny.
Oh, we're short round when you need 'em.
Also, yeah, that too, Tab. There's definitely God, somebody had a post of a couple of very silly ones from one of the computer levels. I'll see if we can catch sight of those when we get there and we can have a good chuckle about them. Meanwhile, Gex is over here getting attacked by ninjas. Actually, streamer, the plural of ninjas is ninja. Well, listen, I think it's appropriate to say ninjas in this case because look at the parody, but I digest. Those guys were not worth any collectibles whatsoever. Game, you are being quite rude. Also, for some reason, this particular piece of music was not in the N64 version at all. A couple of the worlds have like multiple pieces of music for them. Like, okay, sure, we were in the second horror level. What was it called? Haley Steinfeld or something for like eons. And it had just the one music track that we heard in the Hellraiser reference level. But in this particular setting, we get a couple of different pieces. One that starts with a little bit of like a more typical, like the notes that you would, the stereotypical notes from like Turning Japanese. And that's the only piece that they have for these Kung Fu levels in the N64 version for some reason. That some reason probably being that the amount of space that was available on an N64 cartridge compared to a PS1 CD is a bit less, to put it nicely. Even the big boys like Conker's Bad Fur Day were not even as heavy file size wise. And on top of that, you couldn't ship a game on 2 cartridges. Don't be ridiculous. The creator of Gex pronounced it Jex. That's a good joke. Ah, yes, good old GIF versus GIF debates. I'm gonna say Jex now. Well, you see, Tab, then I can annoy you about like Dota lore. I digress. Anywho, Gex Quest. Hey, I would play that mashup. Again, it's not the first time that there's been a reference to some sort of media mashup here in this particular web zone, just for this stream where I've been like, hey, that actually sounds okay. I forgot what the other one was. It was him saying The Wizard of Oz 2000 in the computer one. And I was like, oh, that actually sounds entertaining. Just watched a friend stream Chex Quest a few weeks ago. Cool. I'll be completely honest with you. I haven't seen that in a very long time whatsoever. But out of that era and any snack food themed, with I guess a bit of an asterisk, how much snack food is Chex, especially the cereal and not Chex Mix or prepackaged Chex Mix. It's certainly, out of the ones of those that are first-person type games, that's definitely better than the alternative. And in this case, the alternative that I can think of is that Mr. Pibb game. If anybody's ever seen that, Mr. Pibb is the Mr. Pibb game is, well, not good. And that's all I can say on the matter. That's all I will say on the matter, because that's all you need to know on the matter. Yeah, Chex Quest is a tie-in. It's basically a Doom clone that they offered with boxes of Chex cereal and probably a certain amount of like box tops or something like that as a send-in, because that's a little too meaty to just be given away randomly with boxes of cereal. Cool Spot. I don't remember Cool Spot that well. I apologize. I mean, I know that Cool Spot existed, but past that, I can say rather little. Well, yeah, I remember it was the 7-Up spot. Black belt sold here. That's fun. Oh my god, Sneak King. Holy sh... I actually almost had forgotten Sneak King. That's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, yeah, I remember now that it was this one because I had said something at the time about having a Singapore sling reference in this game. At least it might be a reference to... But yeah. You hope the Noid has a game? Well, I have good news for you. The Noid has at least... Oh yeah, there are multiple official Noid games, actually. I was gonna say, somebody made that Yo Noid 2 fan game, and I don't know anything about it offhand other than it exists. And for some reason, I want to say that it had the subtitle Enter the Void or something, which is like such a clash with Yo Noid. Enter the Void being a rather harrowing film by Gaspar Noé, if I recall correctly.
Slip of the tongue.
So, I digress. Anyway. Yes, there was the rather infamous NES game, Yo Noid, which is like basically a skinned over version of some ninja game that Capcom made. It's a pretty legit game. It's also hard as hell. And I think there was one just called Avoid the Noid that was not as good and was for like DOS PCs. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that guy, well, he's better at it than I would be. That's for damn sure. But that's not necessarily saying a lot. Yeah, he's quite good at Yo Noid. If I don't forget in the next, like, hour or so of stream, I'll try to link to his channel where there's some playthroughs of that. Anyway, yeah, I got a little sidetracked there, that's all. Oh god, Pepsi Man. Pepsi Man is hilarious. I wouldn't necessarily say that Pepsi Man is a good game, other than being Pepsi Man, but there's a certain amount of entertainment value to it, just as being, like, Pepsi Man. And being so incredibly goofy. And the soundtrack is a lot of fun, and just the Pepsi Man commercials were quite strange. Why weren't there action That's a good question, Mega Man. I have no idea why not, but they really should have. I mean, with the amount of, like, interest in retro-style action figures that exists nowadays, I would love for them to make, like, a Gex action figure. Oh, damn it, Rowdy. Chopstick repair. Oh, that seems a little bit overkill.
One expensive Easter egg hunt.
Anyway, oh, it says Mao don't know dung. I thought that said moo. I was about to be like, how is there a fucking Moo Dang reference in a game from 1998? I would have been so fucked by that, but anyway. Yeah, the Cheetah Men, that was one of the many bizarre parts of the Action 52 project.
Great! I'm lost in Dick Dale's colon.
Once again, I'm going to just say wow at the reference, a Dick Dale reference. That's some gong hits, yeah. Somebody, I feel like you look at some of these level designs and you think somebody probably was hitting the gong a little bit. Ah, yes, I remember Cypress Hill. Hits from the gong. Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Mostly. So yeah, fuck, I don't have a good response to that other than...
99.9% clean.
Yeah, a lot of strange games in the 90s, huh? And those mascot platformers for existing products. And Pepsi Man, well...
Come on, Jake, it's a Chinatown.
I actually kind of like the Pepsi Man commercials. To be honest with you. Lizards suck. Oh, that's rude. All the Raiders, no respects. Yeah, they're... Well, what can you do? I admit that my product is a little bit niche here. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, you got me with the V word there, Roundy, because that's in an automatic script that I have to block the bots that try to sell you viewers. I probably could just cut that down to just Streamboo and not have the word viewers in there, because they're ciphering that word a little bit more with the symbols, but obviously they haven't done shit about the URL. It's okay. It happens. I mean, it's not like you're the one who set these viewers upon it's not like you're the one who set these viewer bots upon Twitch, so like it ain't your fault. No, come on. I'm sure that like if the auto mod dings for any like inappropriate words, it's got to be like actually bad things. Listen, I feel like saying sex in this channel would be the like, especially if I were to actually do the VTuber thing, that would be the least offensive thing that anybody would say in my wait.
Yes, I'm here to pick up the lawn.
I should go pick up their collectible things. Oh, they didn't drop any. Or maybe it's because they were off screen or something. Boo! That was a good use of my resources. Except for all the ways in which it wasn't. It might have just sort of looked like it, because I think that was supposed to be his face coming through the ninja mask, but he might have been like flipped over in an awkward looking way at the time. As sometimes just happens. Okay, good. There is a path backwards, so
My tail's gonna kick your butt.
getting all of these, getting enough collectibles rather to get the collectible silver remote is going to take, I can see, a bit of work. This might actually be the dire docks of this game. At least in that regard. Thankfully, there's no water here. Okay, can I come backwards through this door? I hope so.
Last time I was here, I was dressed as a woman. Yes.
That's a strange thing to say, sir, but that's maybe because I immediately hear any reference to that and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a very dated reference. Anywho, Sneak King? Maybe one day. Oh yeah, this is the Burger King games, I see. Big Bumpin', huh? That's a name, alright. Like I said, how can I, like, block large swaths of references to sex and stuff like that when I'm the one who also makes inappropriate reference jokes and points at something and chuckles at it because it sounds less child-friendly than they were aiming for. Yeah, oh god, is this when they had like the Burger King and it was like basically a big life-size plastic guy or a guy in like a plasticky mask? And am I hallucinating, or was there literally an advertisement for that where it was like that someone was literally in bed with the Burger King? And that was like part of the ad? I might be hallucinating or like assuming somebody else's joke as being a legit thing. Oh my god. Ah, yes, this is certainly an unhinged era. The 2000s were a very strange time, weren't they?
A little tongue now, a lot of tail later.
Now, I'm trying to be a little bit careful here so I don't get moited while I'm trying to get these last couple of duelets. Oh boy, that's... Well, I feel I can safely say now, perhaps because I'm so online, that that is definitely somebody's thing. I said moited. But the other thing might possibly apply as well. I don't actually know, like, anything about Noita, the video game. I've seen the title a couple of times. I've seen it for sale on Steam, but otherwise, I am wholly unaware of what exactly that game is. Oh, you'll die many... Ah, yes, sounds like a lot of independent games, really. Just as a general rule of sorts. Alright, I'm going back again to go and pick up some more doodads. Because we're pretty close there, and then we don't have to run through this level a third time just looking for all of these kabuki masks. So what level of like wild sorts of hidden unlockables are we talking about in Noita? How does this measure up to like some of the more goofy stuff in Vampire Survivors? Because I remember there were definitely some pretty out there unlocks for that. Like a couple that were very very confusing. The one that you get for killing the paintings with Blood Astronomia in Castlevania. That one I remember also being like, oh, this is ridiculously hidden for... Just as an example from Vampire Survivors. Although a lot of the Castlevania ones are mostly like, oh, You'll get that a little more if you know the franchise, so I was confused, but because I actually don't know Castlevania that well.
It's tail time. Live of the tongue, baby.
Anyhow, we got our thing here. Oh, that's actually really neat with the... Yeah, given that it's... Again, the alchemy theming there. That's pretty cool.
I take dog duty.
Slip of the tongue.
That might be something I could probably get into a little bit, because I remember... I did a while ago do like a lot of research about alchemy, but... Also a lot of that can also just be like, hey, I gained that along the way, just like learning various things about chemistry, because, well... Alchemy basically is proto-chemistry, so... You know, why don't I just let this guy reset me back to the checkpoint instead of making all this effort?
You don't match the carpet, and you have to go.
Sorry about your eyes. I probably should... I probably should have said something earlier with the flashbang that those checkpoints give you, even when you've used them before. Oh god, yeah, that literally was the tagline was literally "Wake up with the king." Yeah, of course they had someone in bed with the Burger King, right? Oh my god, that... What a time to be alive. Which, granted, I feel like I've been able to say what a time to be alive about, like, every time during my life. Like, things have always been messed up and they just keep getting more so. Oh, I'm quite sure that it definitely was like, hey, yeah. People looking at this thing like they were seriously trying to sell something with it, and folks being like, this is really funny. Which, to be fair, I'm not going to disagree, right?
Just box up the evil, I'll take it home.
And yes, you can knock that ninja off of these awnings, and then you have to go all the way down. Yeah, that's about how I feel about the current present day here, Matt. Is like, yeah, everything sucks. I would like to stop living in interesting and historic times. Yes. Can we not have, like, can we not live through, like, the crisis of the century every day, please? Also, Tab, that is fantastic. I am very glad that somebody did that. I feel like local area pro wrestling events have to be a great place to get, like, weird pictures and stuff like that. Of just, like, people coming out in the goofiest way possible. And I say that, I see all these, like, things on Twitter with people, well, okay, I see them on Blue Sky now, obviously, but I used to see them on Twitter back when Twitter was a functioning website of, like, people's goofy-ass signs that they would go to, you know, WWE events at. The company encouraged it. They sure did. Like, wow, they were not trying to hide the fact that it was just sex jokes all the way down.
Man, this place smells like ducks.
Like, I would say that I would find there to be something quite fun about going to a local pro wrestling event, but also, I kind of basically just live in a cornfield. Like, not literally, but I do live in a relatively rural part of the state that I'm in, so the odds of there being, like, an actual pro wrestling thing out there of any sort, I feel like I'd probably have to go all the way back into the city. But of course, if there were something out here, it would probably be a problem because, like, all the local evangelicals and whatever would see the guy who dressed up like, you know, Knights in Satan's service and think, oh my god, he really is a devil worshiper.
You don't match the carpet and you have to go.
Hey, we got a free one up. Yay. And by free, I mean, oh my god, I've been at this for... This is a lengthsome quest, that's for sure. And part of it is because of my own incompetence, but come on. There's a lot of these dudes here. Oh yeah, those disappeared like immediately. Yeah, we've dealt with the red ninjas, which... Again, if they were real ninja, red versions of the outfit wouldn't be such a good idea. That's not a great way to keep yourself hidden. But up until that point, it definitely was, or it seemed like something else, to put it mildly. Yeah, remember that dragon fire reaches shockingly far. Alright, so I don't think any of these doors have anything special behind them, but obviously that main door over there is the way out, and this is sort of a mini boss of a sort, where you just keep tail whipping the cannon and you shoot these. Wow, okay. Guy's got a hell of a reach on him. These cannonballs that kind of don't look very cannonballish because they're so pale. And you just keep hitting this dragon until it dies. And as it goes, it keeps making that horrible noise, because let me tell you, there's a lot of, like, rather nasty scream noises in this game.
Oh, no. Not the Hellraiser box.
Oh, I got that reference. What, you mean the one on my desk? You can rotate the cannon, as we saw, and as we saw with the earlier instance of a cannon, to shoot gongs, because that's definitely a smart idea and will not break your gong. But yeah, this is a little bit tedious. Actually, significantly more so than I remember. Oh, we can do this, though. That's fun. And a complete waste of time and resources. Yeah, I mean, remember all that screaming that was in the background of the horror levels? It was quite actually nasty. God, the noises in this game sometimes. They are choices, all right. Oh, you relax, camera.
Hail time!
Yay! We've finished all the levels here. Except for the boss. Oh, did we unlock a... We should have unlocked a secret level from that. A bonus level, pardon me. Yeah, there we go. I will be right back, everybody. I return. Let us resume with there being a boss fight, and hopefully the game doesn't crash, because if that happens... Oh, hey, there's a bonus level here. It's called In Dragnet. That's a reference, I get it. Anyway, yes, if the game crashes, I think you might call that reptile dysfunction.
Driving me pain.
Actually, you're feeling it. Everybody's jumping in on it now. Also, the music here is like really crazy, distorted nightmare. Spicy quokka. Quokka? I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce that creature's name, but welcome aboard anyway. We're here in the second boss fight. And do I have to get in the front section of the zone for him to get mad enough at me to go charging? Yeah. This is one of those fights where it's like, okay, if you're too far away, the boss will be like... Quokka, you think? Okay, I will go with that. Quokka. A, this boss fight's music is absolutely like this demented, distorted thing, and B, yeah, this is a boss where if you get too far away, he'll absolutely just be like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm not going to be cooperative whatsoever. Ah, shit. Yeah, I think that's the last hit when the thing pops. But also, like, genuinely, what a terrifying creature. And you electrify it and it just skeletonizes?
Now I can tell by your waistline that you're just easy to eat.
I mean, that crazed look on the face, the centaur body, but only 2 legs. I always thought that the cow texture on the lower torso there had this weirdly like skeletal or maybe just otherwise unhealthy look to it. Definitely quite the unsettling thing. And also, this music is, like I said before, this music is absolutely like a little bit crazed. Oh, did he just break wind on me when I died? That's just rude, man. It's something, all right. Yeah, also, I believe that this music is not in the N64 version. Probably because I would remember something going quite this hard when I was 9 or whatever when I played this game. And yeah, you can... A little bit, yeah. Yeah, as you can see, that last hit is causing me some issue because that middle section is quite useful for me. And that jump is just a little too big to make. And I don't think the flying kick really gives you the height that you need to do it. But we'll give it a shot. Oh, maybe if I didn't suck, but that's asking a lot. There we go. Turns out the easy trick is like just be able to tank hits with your face. That does tend to make things a little bit easier in most games, actually. Excuse me. Ooh, okay, so these do actually add some bonus levels for the gold remotes. Let's take a look behind the red gate real quick, and then we can go check out that bonus level. And then, well, maybe I shouldn't say bonus level in so many contexts, because there's a couple of them there. So, first of all, we've got a prehistory channel called Pangea 90210. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's a very caveman themed level. And here on the Rocket channel, which is our sci-fi themed thing, the Umpire Strikes Out. The other level for this theme is called Pain in the Asteroids, by the way, which is fantastic. Also a joke nobody's ever heard before. And lastly, our second cartoon level called Fine Tuning. And I do not remember what spawns in that big open space there. Probably a bonus level of the silver remote variety, not the one that we're going to go back to at the top of the first section of the hub. Which I couldn't tell what that had. It looked like it could have been an extra red remote, but for all I know, it could just be more gold or something, which might make a little more sense, but we'll find out. It's prehistory. It's called Lava Dabba Doo. That doesn't quite work as well unless you pronounce lava as lava, which is a bit of a Canadianism. Navigate the River of Fire. Ooh, this sounds like a... That sounds like some pain. It looks like some pain, too.
All this thanks to Miracle Grow.
And yeah, we got ourselves a bit of a caveman outfit here for Gex. Very brown, little bone through the nose. It's pretty good. This level, I believe, also is going to have the same silver remotes as usual. So we may as well pick up our collectibles while we're here, and not just so we can get extra lives, because surely this level will beat the absolute pants off of me.
I haven't seen blasts like this since Taco Night at Jane Earl Jones' house.
Yeah, it's a platformer. You've got to have some lava. You've got to have some fire. You've got to have yourself a volcano, unless you're Banjo-Kazooie, in which case the most you get is a lava zone in Grunty's Lair with a texture that when I was a child made me feel very, very unwell to look at. And then there's like Hailfire Peaks or something in Banjo-Tooie. But that's kind of a mix of things, right? As you can tell by the name. Find that lava looks like cheese pizza. Yeah, it's definitely got kind of a look of that. I actually really like the lava texture in this game. Generally, especially when I was younger, lava things in video games tended to freak me out a lot. Like, there was something kind of upsetting about the texture of that lava in Grunty's Lair, but the one that like really got me was always that giant lava monster in Yoshi's Island. That thing scared the shit out of me. The lava in this game never really like freaked me out in any way for some reason. Although those rocks make one hell of a noise when they crash into something. Ouchies. I'm sorry, I keep seeing all this down here and I'm like, that's gotta be something, right? I think it's just a way for you to get back up once you get knocked over. Note that I said not if you get knocked over, but once you get knocked over, because, ooh boy, those rocks. They give you the business. And things are looking a little tight. So this is a level that I'm even less familiar with than, you know, the rest of my extremely dated, fuzzy memories of this game, because this was simply not in the N64 version. Interestingly enough, there was a level with this name and mission name in the GBC game that was... Because, yeah, remember, this was an era where you had Crave Entertainment and other companies like that who were basically releasing licensed 2D platformers of practically everything, especially if it was a 3D game. But there was definitely a level in that called Lava Dabba Doo, and it had a level about crossing the River of Fire. A mission, rather, you know, for like one remote that was in that level. I'm gonna suck at this part so badly, like that back and forth. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And yeah, we got the Titanic level in the N64 Gex instead of like these extra levels, and I think something else got cut too. There was a third Scream TV level in the PS1 version. Which had a very odd name that I can't remember offhand. But also, the main thing that I remember about it off the top of my head from what I saw of somebody play this game, like, at least enough years ago now that I will basically just call it an infinite number of years, was that it had the very rarely spotted ice power-up. Like, I believe it only shows up in the N64 in, like, one level. And that level was another prehistoric level that was called This Old Cave, I believe. I want to say it was in that level. It also might have been in Pain in the Asteroids, which I mentioned earlier because of its hilarious name. But full disclosure, I don't think I ever got that far in N64 Gex. Well, with the asterisk of I got that far enough to know that it was there, and then I didn't actually play it because I was already kind of at my limits in terms of like skill or anything like that, and I saw that name and I was like, ooh, that might be a warning sign. But yeah, definitely you do not get a lot of the ice power up. It's kind of sad. Okay, so now I believe I've hit a bit of an impasse because we've seen that going up there, like all the way up, basically just leads you to just a green fly. And this way just leads you backwards.
The difference between this and Hades is there's no can't really difference.
So... Oh, oops, that was too close there. Whoops. It's alright, we got plenty of lives. We'll be fine, I'm not worried yet.
It's tail time.
Somebody doesn't have the throat for that. Well, I don't blame you, Gexy. I can't do voices at all, so... As we've established earlier.
There, women, for the girl with the golden hair.
Alright, so this has got to be the way to go, right? I don't see anywhere else we can go here. Oh, ain't that the truth? That's how I feel about That's exactly how I feel. So, you know, very familiar, and those rocks definitely knock you pretty far back. So I got to actually perform here. I gotta actually perform on Squawks' shaft here. Wait. Man, I haven't played a Donkey Kong Country game in a while. Shit. Well, that's about how I would expect that to go, actually. Get my clumsy ass out here. I guess at least it's taken until these have started turning into some more irregular polygons, platform-wise, for me to suddenly turn into a complete, you know, controlling like I don't have any hands, goober. That was not a reference to Hans Gruber, don't... I'd say don't be silly, but I'm the one who made the joke. Oh. Whoops. Somehow I just thought that was just a back wall before, so... I may not necessarily be the smartest person who's ever... Jesus, what is that thing? Well, apparently the sign says that they shouldn't be there, so... So, bad news, Budget Blarg. You're going to have to go somewhere else. Or just continue disobeying the sign. I mean, it's up to you, really. Don't let me tell you how to live your life. You know what they say. Sign, sign, everywhere a sign. Do this, don't do that. Oh, hey, look, it's a less evolved Gex. God damn, what have they done to you, Vector the Crocodile? Is this guy, like, hurtable? Yes. Oh, and the tail comes off. That's... Ugh. I don't like that. Thank goodness for modern biology. That's all I'm saying, folks. I hear them bugs. Right there, huh? It's quite close, actually. That would certainly be a bit of a surprise. Dragon Spirit. I'm trying to place if I know offhand what that is. So, you know, excuse me for a second while I try to think.
Ooh, that's how it starts. And there's running and screaming, power-ups.
Although, speaking of odd games and connections to Gex, if I recall correctly, the 3D Gex games are basically running on the same engine that powers the game Akuji the Heartless. God, when was the last time I thought about Akuji the Heartless? And the answer is probably, like, literally when I learned that fact. So, kind of a while ago, to put it mildly. Dragon Spirit, the New Legend. Can't say as I know it offhand, then. I apologize. In a rather silly voice, too, apparently. Don't know why I started saying it a little different, but at this point, I just sort of do that. Sometimes.
I have the whole set.
You must be this tall to ride the bone raft. You must be this tall to enter the bone zone. Ah, my eyes. One on the NES and one in arcades. Gotcha. So it's that age of game. Well, perhaps that might explain my like, huh? Because to be fair, the 8-bit era was definitely an era of massive proliferation of video game titles. Like, the NES had thousands of games for it. And of them, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think probably maybe like 2 to 3% of those are probably actually worth playing. Oh geez. Oh boy. This is a little bit of a bumpy area here. It's a top-down shooter. Plays golden or blue dragon, and your end goal is to stop a sorcerer. That's a pretty interesting choice of genre for that sort of plot. But hey, I'm not opposed to that as a rule. That sounds actually kind of neat. In this sort of like, I don't really know a whole lot about this way. Also, speaking of not knowing a whole lot about this, oh, the patterns on these platforms are pretty funky. And I'm not talking about that in the like free your mind and your ass will follow kind of way. Power-ups that will actively oh, that sounds like it. That sounds like NES era to me. Ooh. And again, a large part of like shmups of that era, where if you ever have any sort of character where you've got multiple shot types, right? And they can be changed by an item, you better believe the game will give you the absolute business when it comes to trying to keep you away from the good weapon.
Someone yelled cut.
This part is, we're back to all skill as opposed to any sense of me being confused. That middle part of the level, that was easy. This, however, a little bit less so. And God, I hope there isn't a hidden remote in here, because I wouldn't have the first idea as to where to look. Oh, hey, look at that moon off in the distance. Oh, there's another one of them worm dinglers. Oops. So this is where Mario's son. Oh man. Yeah, now that you bring that up. Good old Mount Corona. Sorry, Corona Mountain, pardon me. But also still a name choice nowadays, right? Corona Mountain, or as we call it, Capitol Hill 2020. And Capitol Hill 2025, actually, to be fair, but I digress. Accurately named since it drives you to drink. Yeah. Oh, quality-wise, this is definitely more flame core than Corona Mountain, Irene. That is true. And granted, I'm not a huge fan of Corona Mountain as a level either, but... you know, it could be worse.
Welcome to Jurassic Park. Keep your eyes peeled for sleeve stacks and bad special effects.
Slee stacks and bad special effects. Oh, Slee stacks. What a reference. Shit, I got distracted by the Slee stack. Did you know that in that show there were only 3 of the Lee Stack suits that they had available? Anyway, yeah, Corona Mountain is not a great level, but it could be worse. It could be that one hidden shine area where you have to, where you're on the leaf in the gutter, and if you fall in the water, you just die. This sucks, guys. I have no other commentary other than this sucks, guys. Oh, yeah, the Pachinko level. Oh, I had forgotten about that. That thing can eat shit, too.
Memo to Gilligan. Try building a raft. It's tail time.
Yeah, that's true. You get lava iframes here for, like, you do get some sense of iframes, basically. I mean, you had them in Mario 64, but not for lava. Oh, it just says keep going. Thank you, game. I would never have imagined that that's what I had to do. No swimming, huh? Funny. Funny, asshole. Ugh. Dang it. This is gonna be a rough road, folks. And I would apologize about the quality of my play, but like, I think we're used to that by this point. Oh, get on there. Oh, crap. Yeah, and then you've got these, like, weirdly jaggedy looking, those rocks that stick out of the wall are very shaped like not good. And in such a way as to, like, kind of cause me problems when I'm trying to get past them. Oh, we did see a dinosaur that was, like, still wearing an eggshell earlier, Irene, but I think it might have just been an enemy that we got past really quickly, so if you didn't see it, that's why. They do exist, I swear. Oh, we can go under that one, apparently.
Try building a raft.
Oh, I see. That's okay. I mean, there's enough things to distract anyone that, like, it's not like I demand complete attention for my streams or anything. Come on, that would be silly. If I was that arrogant, I would do sub-only programs and have even less viewers.
My doctor says my lanta.
Somehow. As if that were even possible, right? Okay, yeah, no, that one was actually going on the...
How convenient. Those programmers think of everything.
Yeah, like
Give you such a pinch.
the sub-only stream concept feels like a very, like, odd one. Like, I get sub-only chat. There's reasons to do that, and some of them are not completely, like, invalid, i.e. straight up greed. Because if you're someone like if you're GDQ, basically, for example, you will attract a subset of audience that will be rather irritating and not fun to be around. So if you're that sort of person, you have that big of an audience. I mean, it's like, hey, yeah. At least then the annoying people have spent money and you've gotten their money out of them for if you have to ban them or something. But yeah, sub-only stream, that is going a little bit too far. Oh boy, this is getting a little spicy. I know, right? Well, we'll damage boost through to get to the end. Yay! And there's no silver remotes to worry about here, so that's good. I don't have to worry about like, oh, I gotta go look back through there for a hidden one. Hooray! Well, that gets us to 14, so we can take a look at what's behind the green gate. Those platforms look like ice cream sandwiches. A little bit. They have a little bit of that look to them, you know. Because of the quality of 90s texturing. We'll do the bonus level after we take a look at this, and that will be where we wrap. Oh, hey, look, there's a bit of moss on this one. I guess to fit in with the green theming here. We need 21 remotes to go into the next boss, which is Gekzilla versus Mecha Rez. We saw this on one of the attract modes. They definitely kind of wanted that to be a bit of a big thing there. Ah, yes, here's the other Scream TV level. Poltergex, that was the goofy name from it. Honey, I Shrunk the Gecko is our second Circuit Central level. And I mentioned it before, but our last pre-History Channel level, This Old Cave. Unless there's another one that I forgot somewhere, which there probably isn't. Anyway. Let's go to a bonus level with a unique palette, which is, makes up for the one that I was screwing up so much.
Nice hat. I feel like that moron from Shining Time Station.
That's right, we got a police hat and we're collecting police badges because, wouldn't you know, a reference to Dragnet, obviously.
We're gonna do 11 in progress, baby.
Okay, yeah, those don't have to be broken. A lot of background noises there. Oh, geez. And a car alarm? Yeah, a lot of those background sounds and stuff were not a part of this level in, once again, the N64 version, with which I am significantly more familiar. Which means this version of the level is a little bit more annoying. I mean, as far as quality of play goes, well, this is once again going to be one of those levels where there's definitely a pattern that I just don't know yet. Because I see that zip line that leads over there. Oh! It's a big, loud train there.
This is the city.
This feels like one of those places where it would be good for me to draw up a map or something, but what do you think this is? Riffin? Come on. Don't be ridiculous. Why would I need to take that much? Well, yeah, I mean, they give you note sections in the back of manuals for all these video games for a good reason, right? Every video game. Well, I'd say, what's the situation of note sections in manuals in newer video games, but a lot of newer video games don't give you a manual at all, so asterisk not counting anything that's like available digitally.
Why am I in the mood to mercilessly beat an LA motorist?
Jesus Christ! Wow, okay. He just said, why am I in the mood to mercilessly beat an LA motorist? Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. All right. I was not expecting a sudden Rodney King reference out of this game. Wow. That's a little... I mean, we've been talking about how this is a little spicy at times too, but like... that feels a little bit next level. I mean, probably this whole stage is like, wow, I can't believe they had any of this shit on the N64, but I digress. Anyway, we screwed that up, but I think we can probably do better this time. Yeah, we'll save the game, even though absolutely nothing changed.
It's tail time.
Warriors, come out and play, yay!
Okay, see, a Warriors reference. That's a little bit more, a little bit of a not as shocking. There we go. A little more PC. I think that's probably a fair way to say it, yeah. Again, certainly less shocking. That much I can say with absolute confidence, because I'm still a little bit like, holy fuck, about the fact that he just made he made a fucking Rodney King beating reference. That's unprecedented. That's what I will call it. Again, who was this game for? Hey. Yeah, I told you that turn radius is a little bit 90s, right? Which is not a reference to how many degrees are involved, but rather just a reference to the fact that back in the 90s, in a 3D platformer, you took a while to get turned. Usually. I guess the alternative might have been tank controls, which, to be fair, I guess if that is the other option, well, that's a little bit bumpier of a ride, that's for sure. Yeah, me too. I would fully expect there to have at least been one by now. I'm sure there is one somewhere in the game, but we haven't had it yet. Now, catch the train, you said. Okay, so it's over on the other side. Maybe slightly more Bubsy coated than Gex. Yeah, that's definitely true.
Now that's what I call getting some.
Hey, slightly easy gold remote after somewhat tricky collectibles that you had to actually know a real pattern for. Well, that's fine by me. That dude just passed out drunk. Either that or dead. But, yeah, there certainly was just some dude in the street there. Just, I don't know, maybe the overall theme of, like, cop show style might not have been such a great choice if this is, again, aimed at such an audience that would be younger. I'm surprised that this got on the N64. Anyway.